our response has really been organized around kind of three major phases. One is around emergency sheltering. We know there are many vulnerable residents of our city who have been both in our inclement weather shelters that have been run by Salvation Army and Caritas. We're super grateful for our partners who have found safe ways to expand their capacity even beyond what they were contracted for. And then obviously our team has had to open up and activate emergency shelters as well. Uh, I'll have DCAO AB Popovich come up and talk about that in a bit. But have reactivated those as of Friday. These are sites that we rarely open. The last one prior to this weather event was back in 2018, but this extended spate of cold weather, along with ice and really challenging circumstances, has pushed us to do that again. I want to thank the staff that have been a part of that emergency sheltering response. Certainly, our Department of Social Services, the staff who are normally doing either child welfare work or benefits administration or so many other things that DSS do, have now pivoted over the last week to work shelters around the clock. Along with our partners at the Virginia Department of Health, the sheriff's office that have provided support there. It really has been an incredible team effort across the city to make sure that we can operate safe, warm spaces for our most vulnerable residents. Sadly, we did lose an individual to the weather. We reported earlier this week. We really want to avoid that from happening, which is why we've continued to, we've opened up warming shelters, warming centers during the day, and we've reactivated our emergency shelter. Uh, the other big part of our response obviously has been the public works approach to keeping our roads safe and clean. And they have been, again, working around the clock since before the weather even came, pre-treatment starting a week ago Wednesday, and then continuing those efforts on 12-hour shifts around the clock. We've really focused on primary and secondary streets, and that's what we've shifted back to today in advance of the weather that's expected tonight, pre-treatment of primary and secondary streets. We've gotten to a decent amount of neighborhoods, but I've been on the phone with residents from across the city that their neighborhoods haven't been addressed or touched. And again, I want to point out the uniqueness of this weather event. Not, we get snow on the regular. We had about 3 or 4 inches, but what we had on top of that was an inch of ice that has been really challenging, right? It's difficult to plow ice. And with sustained cold temperatures of these, 20 degrees and below that we've seen consistently over the course of the week, salt doesn't get activated. And so we've really struggled, particularly in those neighborhoods, to get those streets cleared. But I want to assure everybody that our folks have been working around the clock. We are doing everything we can. We've pre-treated again for this weather that's coming shortly, and our teams will continue to get out. Once we pre-treat the primaries and secondaries, we'll be back out to neighborhoods. And so what I've been telling residents over the last couple of days is just please continue to be patient, right? Nobody's taking any breaks here. We're absolutely doing everything we can to clear up the streets. Be patient. Get what you need in terms of supplies, medications. Know that it'll probably be Monday, Tuesday. We expect the weather to turn. We see some warming. I think we'll see a lot of clearing that can happen at that point. But we still have a few days to get through here. And so please be patient. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors. For those of you who have been able to get out and can continue to get out, take care of your small businesses, right? This has been a really hard time for them. So many of the small businesses I know in my neighborhood and throughout the city have continued to show up and open up and try to provide services and resources. And so if you can get out, take care of those small businesses, get out to those restaurants, help them stay active and alive during this really difficult time. But most importantly, please take care of yourselves, take care of your neighbors, and I'll have our CAO come and talk a little bit more specifically about our response right now.
Well, listen, here to provide an update to residents and all of our stakeholders about Winter Storm Fern and our activities to be able to mitigate those activities, as well as what we have coming forward in the upcoming winter storm. just to give you a quick recap, at about 4 p.m. on Friday, January 23rd, our mayor provided an emergency declaration to be able to allow us to prepare for the storm. At 7 a.m. Saturday the 24th, we opened the multi-agency coordinating center, also called the MAC, as well as opening our virtual emergency operations center. On Wednesday, the 28th, the declaration of emergency ended, and we began preparing for this upcoming storm. For the storm, Winter Storm Gianna, as it's called, we have the greatest chance of snowfall from 2 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, with a peak chance of about 45% during that time. In addition to that, we are expecting wind chills through the weekend, those being fairly extreme temperatures ranging from -4 to 8 degrees, which are the coldest temperatures, which would last through early Sunday. Really, the role of, I think this is an important note as we kind of talk about, you heard the mayor speak about what is coming forward when we look at our treatment or whatnot. Listen, it's getting cold. It's going to be cold. It's cold now. And so while we're expecting to see less snow than we originally projected, very important that folks take care of themselves and their neighbors and making sure that we're prepared for this inclement weather. Fern and his remnants have provided a very unique weather system, again, as the mayor has already highlighted. But the impact of Fern is something that I think people really need to understand. First, the disruption caused by this winter weather event equates to a little under 4,000 total calls for service during that emergency period. In addition to that, we had 224 crashes, 70 disabled vehicles, more than 660 ambulance transports, 200 falls, multiple road closures, as well as 5 school days that we lost. It's important to know that we have 2,500 miles of road in Richmond, Virginia. That's like driving from here to Los Angeles, California, that we're working on trying to get these roads back together. The roles of our crew is to ensure that emergency vehicles, ambulance, fire, and buses can move people around the city and be able to respond to emergencies. It's our primary responsibility. The way we're doing that is we're making sure that we take care of priority roads first. Second priority are these snow routes, about 200 lane miles or about 8% of miles, or 8% of roads in the city of Richmond. And then priority snow route 3 are those that are our neighborhoods. Now, there have been some challenges based on the ice, as the mayor highlighted. We're working around the clock to make sure that we can use these priority one roads, but all roads, priorities 1, 2, and 3, people have the accessibility that they need. But we've also done some good things to make sure that as those roads and these treacherous terrain that we're dealing with allows people to be able to maintain in place. Thing number one, we are making sure that our top priority is taking care of people, especially those that are most vulnerable. So, our city emergency shelter, ahead of the incoming inclement weather, the city's activated emergency shelter, thanks to the mayor, on January 30th, starting at 5 p.m. at the south side on 6255 Old Warwick Road. And it will stay open at least until Sunday, when we will reevaluate. The emergency shelter option, again, yes, reevaluate it, but also we want to make sure that our shelters, like the Salvation Army, which is open during this time, is our first line of defense to be able to provide an opportunity for folks to have shelter. But also, we partner with Caritas, as folks know, which we're calling our surge shelter. And so that will activate if the Salvation Army inclement weather shelter reaches capacity. But we're making sure, as the mayor said, that we've had a loss of life, and that's what we are trying to avoid during this time. And so these diverse sheltering options are also being added thanks to Ms. Popovich. We've expanded these offices, these offerings, to begin to make sure we can prepare for this extreme weather. One, we're borrowing from the example of places like Baltimore, Atlanta, and DC and providing warming shelters while extreme temperatures exist. I'd like to kind of close with my comments by just acknowledging the hard work across Richmond that's coming from our staff. You know, city teams are actively responding and focused on delivering for Richmonders in ways you wouldn't normally expect. Simply put, all hands are on deck. Although I'm gonna put mine in my pocket. First, to our approximately 4,000 employees, I think on behalf of the mayor and his cabinet, wanted to say thank you for your service. Doesn't matter if we're talking about, there are too many people to name, but I'll just highlight DPU this time last year when we turned that faucet on, nothing came out. And they have done an extraordinary job just focused and being extra meticulous in making sure that our water issues don't reemerge this year. Secondly, I'd be remiss if I didn't call out specifically Keith Turner of Fire Station 20, who just strolling Facebook found out that somebody right up the road from him had the flu and a 4-month old and had no heat at home. And so he provided a space heater using his own dollar, which we're going to reimburse. You know, I would also like to highlight the team from General Services who worked together to make sure that our courts could open and we meet our judicial requirements, because I think that's important as well. And I've also been encouraged, I'll call out Ashley Stein amongst the many who are at our shelters, really highlighting the type of work and the type of care that we're providing to our residents. So Ashley is one of those folks, she's volunteered at the shelters of her own free will. And not only did she volunteer, she also brought activities and games to kind of keep those folks entertained during these very tough times. And so finally, we've got Felix from Dominion here. I also want to make sure I highlight him as well because our partners at Dominion helped us mitigate, you know, an outage that impacted 167 people, I think, for about 6 hours. But without their quick work and partnership with fire and police, we'd be looking at thousands who wouldn't have had power for a couple of days. Those type of things don't always get told, but they are vital as we try to work through this winter weather event. And so I know also I want to shout out Ms. Snellings and Mr. King over in District 8 who called, you know, my phone, the mayor's phone, and everybody else's phone to kind of talk about these priority 3 streets. We're focused on them and we're coming to you, but we got to make sure we take care of these folks who are the most vulnerable and make sure that while you're in your homes and you have some challenges and it's inconvenient, we also keep you safe and we keep your power and everything else reliable. With that, I think we'll take questions.
Great. You have a question? No? Questions?
This might be for Amy. I guess, what has the capacity been like at the shelters? Are you running out of space, or is there space for everybody who's showing up?
Yes. There's space for everyone. Hi, I'm Amy.
Closer. Don't touch it, but closer.
How's this? Can y'all hear me okay? All right. Amy Popovich, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Human Services. Just a big thank you to everyone who's helping with all of our shelter capacity. We do have space for anyone who needs a warm place to be. The mayor mentioned Salvation Army and Caritas. I really want to emphasize our warming centers, which are offered both in the day and at night. It's extremely important for Richmond residents to know that when the emergency shelter was deactivated on Tuesday, immediately we activated our warming center in the day and then at night at Linwood Robinson. So the same will happen. We have our emergency shelter now open on Warwick at our Southside Community Center, which does have plenty of capacity. We did have residents overnight, 59 folks overnight. It's got plenty of capacity. And then when we assess there is time to deactivate that, when the emergency of the storm is over, when we've assessed the infrastructure impacts, we will immediately transition into warming centers. Both of those warming centers were open both Wednesday and Thursday night. We only met about a third capacity capacity. So our main goal here in Human Services is to make sure that there is plenty of space for anyone who needs a warm and safe place to stay.
I'm not going to for you, but so you know now, but the secondary roads and neighborhood roads are still a bit icy. Is the city going to trust me with that, moving into this week, as we stay at these freezing temperatures?
Everyone, Bobby Vincent, Director of Public Works. Yes, the City Department of Public Works is still out there working within our residential priority 3 streets, putting down a combination of sand and/or sand and salt in order to provide traction as well as to provide melting. That way, those chemicals should be able to interact once the temperatures rise above 20 degrees. And that sunlight winds up hitting it and melting it away. So we've already seen quite a bit of action in neighborhoods throughout the city of Richmond, which we've impacted well over 60% of those neighborhoods now. So we're going to continue to work until we do our best to put down chemicals within all of them.
How much of this is just going to come down to the temperature needs to rise for everything to go better?
A lot. And so that's a very good question. And if you notice, riding through the neighborhoods now, you're beginning to see asphalt. That's where the chemicals kick in at, with regards to providing us with some asphalt reveal, as well as some traction with regards to when we are driving on the ice. So a great deal of it goes in accordance with regards to the temperatures. The temperature is just going to give us what we're used to, which is solid black asphalt from curb to curb.
So while you're at the mic, could you, I guess, explain what the city's definition of like a passable street means? Because we've heard some folks who say some of the main roads don't feel like they're super safe. They're still, they might be going down to one lane. You might have to turn over a big chunk of ice to get to where you're going. What does the city mean when it says a road has been cleared?
Well, not cleared, but treated. So once we treat a road, when we put chemicals on that road, at that point in time, that's when that road has been treated. I think the definition of what's passable is actually up to the driver. We have different drivers with different skill sets, and so you have some drivers that can drive right over the ice, and they know how to take their time and maneuver throughout any neighborhood. And then we have some drivers that if they see a little bit of asphalt, they're good. But if you see some drivers may not be able to drive without all asphalt being shown. So we want to leave that kind of up to the driver. But we do know that we don't want people approaching hills on ice. Hills and ice don't go together regardless of your driving skill. So make certain that you take your time there. If you need to park further down out of your neighborhood, please do so in a responsible fashion. But any neighborhood that has not been treated, we are coming.
Coming from DPW, what is the city's biggest priority? As you mentioned, we're currently staying at these freezing temperatures for a little bit. Biggest priorities heading into this week and into next.
Well, until the storm started heading further east, our biggest priority for this morning was actually making certain that our priority ones and twos were pre-treated ahead of this storm. Now we're beginning to move some of our crews off of those primary ones and twos because now we've treated them once and we're looking like we're going to be okay there. So we're moving back into our neighborhoods and taking care of those neighborhoods that have not been treated yet. We also have a map up on the website to show where we have put down treatment as well as those neighborhoods where we haven't. So we're going to focus on those neighborhoods that have not received any treatment at all.
So it's really the ice in those sections.
Yes.
I kind of wanted to switch to power. Like, are there any major concerns that you guys have just like a little bit of anything that y'all are worried about? I know we got lucky last time.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Felix Sarfo Kantanka, External Affairs Manager with Dominion Energy. Uh, we are extremely prepared. We've been focused. We've been working with the mayor, all the partners. As the CAO stated, we had an emergency work outage that working with Chief Edwards and team, we were able to take care of that matter. But we are still prepared. We're still monitoring all the situation, and yeah, we're going to make sure to keep everybody's lights on.
Is there any additional information from the superintendent regarding school operations coming today? Sorry to make you
Anna. Jason Cameron, Superintendent, RPS. The question was about school operations. I can't really say just yet. We want to see how tonight goes, but obviously our first priority is always the safety of our students and staff. So we'll have more information tomorrow. We also are really concerned about feeding kids. As you know, a lot of RPS kids rely on RPS for meals. We had food distribution last week, and we'll have it again this week, and I'll share that information in an announcement tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Thank you. Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I think I have one that may be for anybody, but in talking with some residents that are either caregivers of elderly or elderly residents that have limited mobility, whether it comes down to physical mobility, walking, or their cars, what recommendations does anybody have in terms of holding out for the next few days until we get a little more clear of the situation?
Sure. I'll answer a part of it. Is it helpful if I say my name again?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'll keep saying it. We'll all get. Yeah, sure.
Or just summarize it.
Yeah, Amy Popovich, DCAO for Human Services. I can answer about questions about transportation. So I want to make sure everyone's aware that we've offered transportation between our emergency shelter, our library, our day warming center, our evening warming centers, nighttime warming centers. So for anybody who has challenges with mobility, we've made sure that transportation is directly available, especially because those sidewalks are so icy. I think in general, recommendations around safety, making sure that folks have good shoes on when they're walking, if they need someone to walk with them, asking neighbors for help if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of mobility inside your home, asking for that assistance so that we be as careful as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe a couple things I'd add to that. GRTC has had to limit some of their routes based on the weather, but those are coming back, and we do have a microtransit program in Richmond and throughout the region that GRTC runs, and so I'd want to just put a plug in for that for the microtransit program. I don't know the latest. I don't think GRTC is here, so I don't know the latest on whether those are up and running, but. Yeah, I've talked to a number of residents over the course of the last few days of folks who are caretakers, who have young kids, who are missing doctor's appointments, and again, I just want to say this is a difficult time. It's a challenging time. The ice that has come it's a unique time, and so I would really just encourage people to change appointments, to go virtual when they can, and if you are in a place where mobility is a challenge, to try to stay holed up at home until we can get the streets clear. And then for other. It is helpful for us to know. Some people have been calling me directly, but it's helpful for folks to call 311 just to give them a sense of, hey, here are some of the challenges we're facing, because we take that feedback and figure out where do we need to reallocate resources in some cases. So.
For tonight would love your help spreading the news tonight. Okay, again, Amy Popovich, DCO for Human Services. Richmond, we could use your help. If you know someone or see someone who's out in the cold, please encourage them to either call 311 or go directly to our Southside Community Center on Warwick. Our emergency shelter is open. Folks can come by anytime, anyone. If you're a family, if you're an individual, we do take animals who have special needs, have special training. So please inform your neighbors, spread the word. That shelter is open now. That shelter will certainly open throughout tomorrow, and we'll assess our criteria tomorrow. Please spread the word. Thank you so much.
All right.
And I'll end with this. Again, people are at the end of their rope. It's been a long week. People have been stuck and are frustrated about getting out of their houses or getting back to normal life. And we we will get there. And I plead for people's patience, but also a reminder. We've got these incredible Buddhist monks who have been walking for weeks and weeks on end from Texas to Washington D.C. And they're continue their journey. They're passing through Richmond. It looks like it's going to be Monday, and the timing could not be better to have this incredible movement and symbol of joy and patience and love coming into a time where we really need that. And so I just want to encourage everybody as they can to greet the monks, or even to pay attention to the media coverage, but also to channel joy and peace and love in a time where it's really needed. So thanks, everybody.